My name is Fazal and I basically teach Indian economy. I have been teaching since 6 years. I have done my engineering from mechanical. I worked as software. I worked in the software as a software developer quite long period of time. Then I started teaching after my engineering services, and I teach at various institutions. One among them is the institution which we are now, and mostly in Hyderabad and few of the institutions in Bangalore. Okay, so I'll be taking your Indian economy part, okay, for prelims and mains, and this session is to make you understand that how to start economy for the beginners, all right, and also how to deal the subject economy, what is the present pattern of economy for UPSC, and along with that, in this pattern, how are we dealing economy in the regular trend. So how should a beginner should understand the economy? So most of them, even if you are not aware, let me tell you that recently the question paper, if you could have a chance to look at the question paper, that is the 2024 civil services question paper. 2024 civil service question paper, there were around 15 questions in economy. 15 questions in economy. So in the 15 questions in economy, basically this is been categorized as the basic questions, okay, and advanced level questions. So they are categorized into basic questions and advanced level questions. So one should understand what are the basics first, because I have been telling to a lot of batches what is being covered as part of the basics. Basically those things which have been there in NCERTs, those things which are actually been part of NCERTs, those has been covered into, those have been given in the exam. So what comes under these NCERTs? So people should understand there are around 5 questions which are directly 5 questions, little bit added with current affairs, little bit added with the regular discussions what we make in the class. Those have been covered. Remaining advanced, like you get advanced level of investments, okay, foreign portfolios, okay, infrastructure development, okay, bonds, shares, equities, along with the regular current affairs. So those were again plans, programs, schemes. Put together we have got somewhere around 10 questions. So 2 ways we will be studying about economy, basics and advanced. So in our regular sections of economy, what we do is we basically deal around 15 chapters together for prelims, and mains. That means it's not like we don't put the the mains part separately. We don't put mains part separately. It's not like the mains part will read it separately, not like prelims part will read it separately. Together we'll start with the prelims as well as the mains. Secondly, post prelims and mains, that means first looking at the prelims and mains, post going into that, just will also have to look at, like once we are done with this syllabus post, we also have to look at what is that economy is being covered. That means when you take the preliminary part, they were on an average of 15 questions were asked. That means this is actually giving you 30 marks. And when you take mains, to 50 marks, in that more than 100 marks, 140 marks. That means almost 3/4 of the syllabus is economy only. Economy, economical development, social development, sustainable development. Okay, so this is quite useful. Again, our syllabus will also be useful for you in one essay, socio-economic development. Okay, one essay. So it could also be useful like for your interview process, etc. Here prelims part, mains part, interview part or the essay part, this paper makes definitely a big role. So most of them may not be having a, not having a basic knowledge or advanced knowledge in economy, provided that you must be a beginner or you must be not having touch in economy, or some of them would have read in their your graduation, some of them would have studied in their your schooling, or some of them would have been very much specialized in this subject. So keeping all this in mind, UPSC is considered about all of them who have the advanced knowledge, who have the basic knowledge. UPSC considers all of them, and considering those, some questions have been framed considering the rural urban people, and also people who have a good knowledge in economy, or people who are from technical knowledge, people who are from only from theoretical basic graduation. Considering all of them, the question paper is being framed. So this uh, subject is being projected as one of the toughest, which is not actually, because my students basically once they go through the classes, the class notes, the topics, etc., it is very easy for them to analyze, to understand. Okay, and at least now looking at the question paper, they would have got the thought that the class notes will be very important. So what is that, and how will you people will begin? So you need to start with your NCRTs. You need to start with your NCRTs. You may not read all NCRTs, but I suggest you to read 11th class NCRT. Okay, 12th class NCRT. Indian economic development. 12th class NCRT. Macroeconomy. 12th class NCRT, macroeconomy. So Indian economic development and 12th class NCRT, macroeconomy. These are the two books which a student must read. So 11th class and 12th class NCRT, a student must read. He has to have a very good understanding in these topics. So what are these books? Out of this both, this is more technical. This is very technical actually, and this is almost theoretical. And prior to starting off your classes, it is very clear that it's better that you could actually cover Indian economic development theoretical part, which could be very useful for you. And it is something like very simple book talking about pre-independence, post-independence. Pre-independence means since like 1920s, 1850s to 1947, what that India has gone through, different phases in the economy, and post 1947, what India has gone through till 1990, post 1990 to present. So this book gives a very good knowledge about what is there in the pre, what is there in the post, what is there in the present. So this book gives a very good knowledge of what is happening in and around. Next is technical. This is very technical. I don't suggest my students to start when they don't have a very good knowledge. I suggest them to read Indian economic development. Later, technicality, that is a macroeconomy. It could be beneficial if once we covered 4 chapters in our classroom. 4 chapters in the classroom. That is national income, Indian agriculture, banking, BOP. Okay. Then it is advisable for you to start this book, that is macroeconomy, because most of them I will cover in the class. So next, there are few chapters or topics like in combination with pre and in combination with mains. In combination with pre, in combination and with main, we have to study them. And what comes into the pre, what comes into the mains, few combination, like if I take national income, can be expected in both of them. So we'll study about GDP, calculations of GDP, methodologies of GDP. Okay. Next, agriculture, very important for prelims and mains. Along with this, banking, monetary policy, both are being very important for prelims and mains. So there are few topics: food processing, industries, infrastructure, which are common for prelims and mains. That means the student has to focus these topics for the prelims, these topics for the mains also, which means these topics are very essential for you to get a good score in the prelims as well as in the mains. That means there is no way that you won't read this topic for prelims and mains. You have to study in the combination. That is the reason these topics plays a very good role in getting good score. And in the classes also, these topics are very lengthy. I will give you the class notes and it will take a lot of time for you to have a coverage. Next, very importantly, if what other chapters will do it, money market, capital market, stock market, okay, industries, investments, services, plus along with this some economical development, sociological development, like we study demography, poverty, unemployment, okay, sustainable development. And along with this, if there is something which needs to be studied with respect to, that means with respect to the present scenario, that is like finance commissions, planning commission, Niti Aayog, 5-year plans. So all these topics are very essential for your prelims as well as the mains. But these are the sure touch topics that which can be asked for your prelims as well as the mains, and there is a sure topics that 100% of the questions can be asked in these areas. So this course of economy will take some time. It will not be that easy because for mains it is of 3/4 paper, and for prelims you can expect at least 15 questions like recently if you can look at the paper. And I have been telling like from past many years, if you look at the trend of the question paper, on an average 15 questions are being asked in prelims, and even this year people claim 17 to 18, but we on an average we can take it as 15 questions. So 15 questions can be asked on an average in your preliminary exam. So mains anyways I told you 130 to 140 marks is the descriptive. We'll practice few questions in the mains prelims. Okay, that could actually be helpful for you to get a sound knowledge in analyzing things with respect to the economical point of view. So next, few things that you should also know, that how should you read and understand the current aspects of economy. How should you read and understand the current aspects of the economy? So how does the current aspects of economy, where do I update daily? See, one newspaper, any newspaper of your choice, Indian Express, The Hindu, Indian Express, The Hindu, one newspaper of your choice. One newspaper of your choice will definitely make some difference. So Hindu is most preferred. Indian Express is also preferred for the articles if you can actually read. Okay, and along with this, always remember, I'll be posting in my Telegram channel, that is Learn with Fazal. Learn with Fazal, F-A-Z-A-L. Okay, so this is a channel which starts with UPSC CSE. Learn with Fazal. So in that you can actually get a good sound knowledge with respect to the prelims, mains. Daily I will be posting some articles, editorials, okay, some articles and editorials which can actually give you some content, what to read and what not to read. So in case if they have been missing some points, or in case some articles if you have missed, so we will be highlighting that articles and I will be posting in the Telegram channel. So you can join this Telegram channel for having a good understanding of the subject. Next, one newspaper is enough. Don't go for many newspapers. One newspaper is quite enough to understand. Probably you can read the Hindu, okay, and in case if you have time you can go through the Indian Express, but you can read it from the Telegram channel. Next, along with this, Along with this, like, you should also have a knowledge about how to solve the questions, MCQs. So for this MCQs, I would rather ask you to prefer New Vishal. New Vishal, previous year questions. New Vishal, previous year questions, which will actually help you to understand, okay, what is the depth of the questions is being asked, what is the level of questions are being asked in the UPSC. So that could actually help you in understanding what on, like, whether we are on track or do you require actually some gap, you have some gaps of to fulfill what you have to do. So only solving the previous year questions only will help you to get some edge in UPSC. Okay, and one magazine is enough to follow. One magazine is enough to follow, that daily you can read, or newspapers, but sometimes if in case if you could miss, then one magazine is quite enough. That could actually help you to understand, in case if you could miss, that could have been covered in this, then it will be, holistically you are actually covering the editorials, articles, news, or magazine. People, what is, why do I ask you to read any magazine of any of the institution? Because they will do some background work, they will use some background work, okay, and they will analyze the content, okay, so that could actually fetch you some more points. So that is one way how you have to read what you have to read, okay. So whenever we start the batch, we start with the chapter like national income, we go to agriculture, we go to banking, we start with money market, capital market later, industries, investments, infrastructure, okay, PDS, food processing units, alright, investment models again. Along with that, we always have the mains topics covering prelims and mains in common, okay. So I have told you the trend, like 15 questions have been asked. I have also told you like what is the weightage of the mains and how important is this subject. I also told you what is the books you have to read. I have not suggested you any book to read to buy and read in the market, because when you are paying here, it should be justifiable that you should get a proper content, and always read the class notes, because I have a good record of uh, making people to be very comfortable in prelims and mains, and also most questions are being reflected in the preliminary, so directly from the class notes. So it could be very helpful for you if you can actually read class notes first, revise class notes, and try to get advantage from the class notes. So whatever we read, we'll write everything in the class notes. All right. So if you have any questions, sir, can you please suggest the magazine as well? See, magazine, it's up to you, yeah. I mean, like, magazine, whichever magazine you feel it is comfortable. I mean, like, there are so many magazines which have been in the market. So, if you can actually feel, the first is like how comfortable are you with that institution, and the second is how wide that institution is covering the magazine, and third important is like how better is that magazine and how comfortable, like how basic it is. If the magazine is something like using very high level language which is making you difficult to understand, I rather ask you to just read the notes and make your read the newspaper and make notes and revise that. If the magazine is so simple that it is making you to understand in very simple words, then it would be very better than to follow one magazine, any magazine, because I have no particular in the mind. Why did I say magazine is because you will be free, you will be very much free, and basically why you will be very much free, it is very simple, that you will have a rough idea that I did not miss anything from the newspapers, rather things are repeated or something. If it is new, then you can read the background also. That's why I asked you to read one of the magazine, but it could be better if you follow any standard institutions magazine, okay, or the magazines which are actually, I'm saying standard institution magazine because you all know which are the institutions, like in Delhi and all, they release magazines. So you take one magazine of, or if Reflection Institutions is issuing the magazine, so please read any one magazine is enough. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So any other thing, you can raise a question. Any other thing, if you have any doubt, you can please raise it. It could be any doubt, like where are you people associated? I mean, like you are going to, you are planned that you will attend only online classes, or you are preferring to come offline also. I cannot see the number of students also, so it's not making me visible. Offline classes, okay, fine, that's great if you are coming for the offline classes. So offline is, I feel offline is much better. Even if you are very far associated, then it's all okay. So offline is much better. Why? Because direct interaction with the faculty is very good, and you can interact. Online is also good, but sometimes uploading of the content, or sometimes I mean, like the interaction with the faculties will miss in the online. So I always suggest my student that if you could actually have the offline, that could be very much beneficial for them. Offline is very much beneficial. Which books are reference to the mains exam? That's why I told you mains will write very exclusively in the class, because I have been teaching this subject since many years. So I have like delivered the content in the mains format as well as in the prelims format. So definitely the content for the mains, the question and answers format, and the mains content format, what you read, what you write, what you analyze, that will be definitely be useful for the mains as well as the prelims. So I don't suggest any references books. Don't run behind the textbooks. So never run behind the textbooks for UPSC. Run behind the newspapers, run behind one magazine, run behind the government sources, run behind what is happening in the market in the present time, and that slowly you will develop. If I say read this textbook, then what is the use of institutions then? What is the use of the faculty? What is the use of the dynamic trend? That means something is written in the books, you are reading that, that's it. So how well it is beneficial for you just reading the books, just understanding what is there in the books? I don't think so that will be helpful for you. So do not run behind the books, run behind newspaper, run behind the class notes which is being given, run behind the current affairs sessions, okay, update your content, run behind NCRT sessions, complete your NCRTs first. That will make you definitely perfect. So it will take some time, because you are just a beginners. It will take some time, and once it is on track, definitely you know what to read and what not to read, then things will become very easy for you. All right, any other question? You people are very slow in asking question, or you don't have any questions in economy, or the session is very clear for you. Okay, so books, textbooks, I told you the sources, what you have to read, how we are going to start, okay, and I also told you like what are the reference sources. Sir, is the budget is a part of Indian economy in the point of current affairs? Okay, Reshma has asked this question. Definitely, because when we read, when we read, when we go through our classes, so definitely In our regular classes, we will be discussing about the present year budget. For example, 2024-25. Okay, we'll take the budget of 2024-25 plus the survey, which has not come out yet, but they have been given as an 10 years of review. 10 years review since 2014 of this present government to 2024, what they have given. So we will be reading this content. Okay, so every year budget, we need to update every year budget. So you understand the budget's terms. Don't run into budget. First, we have a chapter of fiscal policy. We have a chapter of fiscal policy. So in that fiscal policy, we'll first read different terms. What are the terms associated in that? First, understand what is the budget. Okay, then making of budget. Okay, what are the terms? What is the making of budget? Okay, then we will go to the directly to taking the budget's real terms. So you should understand what are different budgets we have, what are different types of budgets we have, what are different committees associated with them. So if I start telling all this, it becomes very lengthy. I mean, because this is an introduction class, you should know what we have to read, how we have to read, how we are going to start, rather than into the subject. But it was a good question that do we read budget? So definitely we have to discuss budget. What all we discuss mains and prelims, we discuss at part of what is given in budget, the terms, terminologies. Okay, so there are so many things we have to discuss as part of the budget, economic survey, etc. All right, anything else? Okay, is there any question? Macroeconomics includes which topics means point of view? Macroeconomics means of point of view. Macro means it's a larger scope. Macro means it's a larger scope. Macro covers basically with inflation, monetary policies, fiscal policies, balance of payments. All right. So macro basically is a larger term. So 12th class NCRT we have. If you read the 12th class NCRT, you get all these terminologies in 12th class. So inflation is definitely there, monetary policy is there. Okay, you study about the blank, classification of the bank. You study about fiscal policy of the budget, classification, terminologies. You studied about the trade India is making, with other countries. So the trade which India makes with other countries also we do study in this, like your exports, your imports. Okay, so all these terminologies and what are the current aspects what we get it here, even we read those things. So macro is a very broader perspective. So read that macro book, which is very helpful for you to understand what is happening in the market. All right. So any other question? How to go through any policies of the government? Okay, good question. Policies, schemes, plans. For example, we take the case of schemes. If there are any schemes which we have to read, so we first start with the ministry. Then we start with the subject. That means it is an agriculture, or is it to MSME, or is it to promotion of education, or is it promotion of women empowerment? All these things we will be covering under the schemes. So how to read the schemes? For example, if you take PM Kisan, this is for the welfareness of farmers, promotion of the farmers, giving DBT to the farmers, before going for the harvest, so that they can have some benefit, some paisa in their pocket, so they can utilize this paisa for their expenditures of agriculture. So schemes should be read as part of your syllabus. You cannot read all the schemes. It's very difficult. So renewable energy related schemes, environmental related schemes, infrastructure related schemes, banking related schemes, promotion of BPL, PDS, agriculture, renewable energy, environment, forest policy. So all this we will be covering in economy. So all these schemes, I will be discussing so many schemes, plans, programs. So what are there from 2014 to present day, we will be discussing. So we will be discussing them, which will be in a very story-like format, like why the government has released this. For example, for street vendors, government has come up. For artisans and traders, government has come up. For export-import, government has come up with various schemes. So these schemes are quite helpful. So you should read about ministry. You should know about central government's expenditures, state government's expenditures, how much central government is putting it, how much state government is putting, how many people are associated, for how many people it is helpful, what is the budget allocation, so what is the core area of the schemes, how beneficial it is. So all these kind of things will be quite important. Okay, so it is not in a one day, like today we will study entire schemes and we will close. I never taught in that way, that today we will study these schemes and etc. In that way, I don't think so you will mug up or you will understand any scheme. When I teach agriculture, if there is a topic, in that topic, the scenario will make you to understand the scheme. For example, promotion the income of the farmers. So what are the schemes which are related? So there we will discuss. For example, industries. For example, women section. For example, MSME Swanidhi. Okay, PM Vishwamitra. For example, tribals PM Janman. Okay. For example, if in the case of health, we will be studying about Janani Suraksha Yojana. Education, Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, Roshni, Skill India Mission, National Education Policy. This is how we prepare. So topic, we will take the topic and that particular topic we will go through it. What time to start mains answer writing, sir? Mains answer writing will start from, I don't start it like we'll study mains later prelims. You will start it immediately and you will start along with me only. Like when we will be discussing classes, I will be making you to write few MCQs. When, for example, we'll take a topic. That topic is about Atmanirbhar Bharat. In that we will solve few prelims wise questions and we'll also write one or two mains wise answers that would actually help you to understand what is prelims perspective, what is mains perspective. Okay, that was Mr. K. Mr. KV. Okay, good. Our time to start means Raichoti Shravani. So I have answered your Shravani. Again KV, how to filter important schemes from UPSC perspective. That's why I told you, like what are covered in the newspapers, what are covered in the budget, what are covered in the perspective of review of the government. So that will be important for your exam. So such kind of schemes you have to read. For example, Ujjwala Yojana, Pradhana Mantri Ujjwala Yojana is for providing subsidized LPG cylinders. Okay. So, for example, if I could say Mission Indradhanush. Okay. For example, if I could actually say about extended credit line guarantee schemes. So, that is for promotion of the banks. For example, PM Mudra Yojana. Okay. So, such kind of terminologies will be there. So, you may not filter. There is a syllabus for that. In that syllabus only you should read current affairs. In the syllabus only you will be reading schemes. That actually makes you perfect. There should not be, I strongly believe there should not be any separate class for the schemes. They should, because the student it's very difficult for him to understand if there is a separate class for schemes. Schemes should be part of your syllabus and you should understand the schemes, because whenever the scenario comes to write the answer, you should include that, so that the student is very much well equipped to read it. Okay, sir, how to read newspapers? Srilata, how you read newspaper? Generally, if newspaper, for example, today, so it's very difficult for a beginner to immediately start reading newspaper, because the background they will not be having idea. See, for example, elections are in news now. Okay, for example, the speaker is in news now. For example, nomination is in news now. MLCs are in news now. So take Lakshmikant Polity, to take it as a reference and put your newspaper and start reading. Don't read the entire newspaper line to line. Pick up important topics in the newspaper put your few books should always be on your table. One is mapping, that is for geography, that should be there in your hand, and Lakshmikant polity should be there in your hand. So putting those things as a reference, then you should make a notes. So, sir, economy is related with polity. Yes, economy is related to polity. Economy is related to international relations. Economy is related to environment. Economy is related to sociology and society. So, here when you write in the mains, it's not only pure economy. Prelims is very pure economy. Mains is like 50% directly the economy, and 50% is like economy and social development, inclusive development. So, here you should write about combinations. When you write about economy, then you should always remember that there is some polity is being used. So what polity I will use? You should use amendments, you should use schedules, you should use some acts, you should use a concurrent list or schedule list. For example, if I take land, if I take agriculture, if I take agriculture marketing, if I said farmer, so there could be some list. So you should have some background. You should have little bit of background. Reading that little bit of background, you will give some knowledge about what you are going to write, how you are going to write, etc. And definitely economy is very wide subject. Its wings are like interlinked to geography also, polity also, history also. So I'm not asking you to have very vast knowledge, but knowledge which is sufficient to substantiate your answers for writing in economy, that is quite enough. Okay. Sri Lata, thank you. Okay, great. Any other questions you have, or we can stop the session? Or if you, whenever we are going to meet, then we will start with our first chapter, basic, and we will try to cover the syllabus for prelims and mains. That could actually give you some benefit, understanding of how the expect trend is. Basically, I'll teach all current affairs. Economy is a tough subject. No, it's not a tough subject, because I should be an example for you people, because I did engineering, man. Mechanical engineering I did. Not understanding what I did in engineering. Fourth year I came to know that I am doing engineering, because first 3 years there was nothing I did in engineering. And only an engineer will understand why he did engineering. So I am teaching economy, I teach sociology, I teach environment also. So I teach many subjects. So only thing is engineer can do anything except engineering again. So here all the engineers don't get offended. So here I can say one thing, that it's not a tough subject. Yeah. Like if you love you, it's very easy. I used to feel it's a tough subject, but when I started reading the newspapers, understanding the content, it becomes very simple. There's nothing tough in this. Okay, Sai Kumar, don't worry. Okay, anything else? Any other questions you have it, or we'll start with the sessions whenever we meet. Okay, so we'll stop the session now. Anyways, thank you guys for coming. And whenever we'll meet, then we'll be taking the first chapter for prelims and mains, and your schedules will, I think your institution will give you a schedule. Based on that we will, and don't get that fear of having this is tough. Main topics in economy, I have just told you what are the main topics: fiscal policy, monetary policy, inflation, banking, agriculture, infrastructure, investment models, money market, capital market. Okay, these are the major from where you expect, but I have given the list. In that subtopics will be there. Again, in that there are so many top topics. Okay, what is the national GDP, sir? No more subject now. National GDP, what is the national GDP and all, we will discuss when we actually start the classes. Just understand what we are trying to put this session is to make you aware that how the program is going to be held, and what are the things which we are going to cover, how we are going to take these sessions. Okay. So if I ask you what is GDP, then it's very difficult. Okay. And NCERTs also I will be covering, like when you go through the classes, you can easily cover NCERTs also. Don't worry. Don't worry. Lot of questions will be there. Once these are done, the questions can be resolved. All right. So will we meet? When we meet, we can actually start with the sessions and we can go ahead with the sessions. And definitely all the doubts are there. All the doubts are there that could be resolved. All right. Thank you so much for the participation. And when we meet next time, we'll start directly with the classes. I hope and I wish all I could actually see you people in the class. That makes very effective. Okay. So give the thumbs up in case you are coming to the class so that I can understand how many people are going to come to the class. HDA part of economy, yes. HDI, GDI, gross national happiness, everything we'll read. So how many are going to come for the offline? Just let me know. You're coming for the, okay. Lavanya is going to come. Shri Akshayani. You're going to come offline. Okay, great. Okay, chalo. Take care. Thank you and we'll meet again.